there is this debate in which essentially asks why, or is aid effective, right? And so there are scholars who would argue that it is very ineffective. In fact, it's really bad because aid encourages corruption. That is, aid gets misdirected into the pockets of corrupt governments, corrupt leaders. It decreases governments' incentives to tax their own citizen, which is bad, right, from an accountability perspective and also from a sustainability perspective, right? Because ideally you want aid to come for a certain period of time, but then you want sustainable development to carry the country forward. At the same time, we see that aid is very important or has shown very successful in reducing HIV/AIDS rates in Africa, in improving infant or reducing infant mortality, right, by financing important immunization. So there's this other side of the debate that would argue, well, if we only put in enough money, right, if we only committed to a big push, we would then help these poor countries develop. Now, the big problem there, of course, is that in these donor countries, right, we now sort of go through this economic downturn, right? We recently emerged from a pretty big recession here in the United States, and so there is not always that political will and the ability of governments to really give lots of money away through foreign aid, and in particular, given the uncertainty around the effectiveness of aid and the fact that so many critics are actually arguing that it's not effective. So this debate is there. It's an important debate, but it's not exactly useful in terms of finding solutions. And in fact, a better question to ask is, under what conditions can aid be effective, right? And this is where the literature has looked largely at the recipient government, where they look at the degree of corruption in be it Somalia or Tanzania, and then they research has found that aid is more effective in better governed countries, right? Which it makes intuitive sense. Now, I entered the literature by not just looking at what's going on in the recipient countries, but also thinking about the different tactics or different strategies that donors can employ as they deliver the aid. And again, that experience in Bosnia was critical in the sense that I was able to observe a whole host of different strategies. So donors would give money directly to governments as a form of cash support. Then they would give aid through the Red Cross, right? So the Red Cross would be in charge of delivering the medicine. Or it could be delivered in the form of a public-private partnership where business comes together with donors and then make things happen. Why donors choose the tactics that they choose, right, is, in my view, a very important question to ask, because it then has implications for the effect of recipient characteristics on aid effectiveness.